Good morning, YouTube. Today's biblical immorality. We're going to be doing one about women today, all for the ladies. I want to make this clear that this is not even complete, a list, but these are some of the more popular ones and some of the worst ones from both Old and New Testament. Now, I'm not going to read all of these simply for the sake of the video's time. But there are definitely some that I'm going to point out because they're just absolutely horrible. There's Deuteronomy 25, 11 and 12. There is Judges 19, 24 and 25. Now this one I am going to read. It says, "Look, here is my virgin daughter and his concubine. I will bring them out to you now, and you can use them and do to them whatever you wish. But as for this man, don't do such an outrageous thing." But the men would not listen to him, so the man took his concubine and sent her outside to them, and they raped her and abused her throughout the night, and at dawn they let her go. Now, this is part of a very long story, relatively. And, you know, I advise you, if you want the whole thing, read everything. But this is the meat and potatoes right here. And the biggest problem is that it is ridiculous that basically it's a bunch of drunk people at this dude's house. It's kind of like the story of Lot's daughter. Talking about they're going to go rape this guy who was coming through and staying at this guy's house. So rather than give up the guest, who was a man, it was better for him to give up his own daughter as a sex toy. If you've seen the other videos, you already know what all that nastiness about Lot's daughter, and this is it's like the exact same thing. It's a very clear picture that women are completely just seen as inferior nothing, just cattle to be bartered, traded, and used as the man sees fit. That's disgusting, despicable, and your God is the guy who gives it the thumbs up, alright? Fuck you. 1 Corinthians 11:3. "But I want you to realize that the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is man, and the head of Christ is God." Very obvious that there's a specific pattern of importance, and that's Christ, then man, as in male, and then females. Females are inferior to men. 1 Corinthians 14:34 and 35. "Women should remain silent in the churches. They are not allowed to speak, but must be in submission, as the law says. If they want to inquire about something, they should ask their own husbands at home, for it is disgraceful for a woman to speak in the church." It is disgraceful for a woman to speak in the church. I don't even need to say anything about that. It is its own ripping apart in how terribly it treats women. Colossians 3:18. "Wives, submit yourselves to your husbands as is fitting in the Lord." Go back to the whole women are inferior to men thing. 1 Peter 3:7. "Husbands, treat your wives, respect them as the weaker partner." I'm skipping across here for time's sake. "Wives, submit yourselves to your own husbands as you do to the Lord." This is in Ephesians 5:22. This is replete. These are not singular little bits of nothing. It's all through the Bible. Leviticus 21:9, about a priest's daughter fornicating, and she's a whore and to be killed. Leviticus 12:2, a woman who, oh, you know what? You guys just need to read it for yourselves. Leviticus 12:2, about women's pregnancy. Please do. 1 Timothy 2:11, a woman should learn in quietness and full submission. Submission, like a dog. "I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet." I mean, there it is, in black and white. This is clearly that no female is ever allowed to have authority over a man. Now, the reason that's really screwed up is not just because it's screwed up on its own, but because, like I was talking about in my other video, about there is no authority given but by God, according to the Bible. Which means all the bad people in existence who have authority are there by God. Well, if this is saying that a woman will never have authority over a man, this is clearly God saying Women are inferior. I will never permit a woman to have authority over a man. That's your God. Job 14:1. Read it for yourself. 14:1 through 4. Despicable. Deuteronomy 25:5. If brothers are living together and one of them dies without a son, his widow must not marry outside the family. Her husband's brother shall take her and marry her and fulfill the duty of a brother-in-law to her. Now, again, woman has no choice in this. And this happens a lot in the Bible. You see all these laws that specifically have to do with the woman being punished, the woman being excommunicated, the woman being unclean, the woman being divorceable but can't ask for a divorce, the woman not being allowed to have sex, but men can have sex all day, but for some reason women can't. I mean, it's just replete throughout the Bible that women are inferior. And this isn't random people in the stories of the Bible. This is the law of your God. Your God is quite clearly and multiply saying, in as many ways as he can think to say it practically, that women are worth nothing. You can do anything you want to a woman. How can you worship a God that treats women that way? That's despicable. And I'll finish up with this one. It goes all the way back to the beginning. In Genesis 3:16, I will make your pains in childbearing very severe. With painful labor you will give birth to children. Your desire will be for your husband, and he will rule over you. I'm married. And I gotta tell you, the day that my wife submits to me and I rule over her is the day I realize I've done fucked up severely, and she and I are both going to therapy. Because there's not a chance in hell that is a fair relationship. That is not a relationship at all. I mean, that's... Now, okay, some of y'all are into the whole submissive dominance thing. More power to you. But we're talking about, the norm of actually how you treat each other in important things, not in the bedroom. And I have 3 daughters. I can't even imagine if I saw one of my daughters dating somebody who would lord over them, who would rule over them, and who they felt they needed to be submissive to. I tell you what, I'd be taking that boy aside and we'd be having a very, very stern talk. And that would be me telling him shit and him listening. I don't know how you justify this. I don't know how you justify this to yourself, that you worship this God who you think is perfect and fair and loving, and obviously has a disdain for women. That it makes no sense. And I'm really curious to hear how any of you guys actually justify this. I mean, I've heard this for decades, but I've never actually heard anybody try to make a plausible argument as to why that's an acceptable way to live your life. Why you would worship a God who would come down and tell your wife or your girlfriend, whatever, the same things in the Bible. And how would you feel about that? Just imagine for a second, close your eyes, and imagine a deity popping down and actually making all that stuff happen in your today life. How would that make you feel? And I swear to God, if any one of you assholes actually says it wouldn't bother you, or there's something else that needs to be considered or whatever, no, fuck you. The question is very realistic in the sense that, if I'm taking the Bible to be real. And if you try to say that you feel anything but upset, angry, pissed off, or sad about that, you're a liar. You are a liar. And if you know you're a liar, then you need to question why you need to lie. Because you can't rationalize it. So think about that. Think about the God you worship. Later.